2 years ago, I thought the Creality Ender 3 V3 SE was the perfect entry into 3D printing. It had a direct drive extruder, dual Z-axis lead screws, and the holy grail for any beginner, automatic bed leveling. The promise was a printer that just worked right out of the box. And for a little while, it did. But that was the printer I thought I bought. This is the story of the printer it became. This is a look at the hidden flaws you'll never see in the sponsored review. Today, I'm exposing why this beginner's dream is a trap and how you can avoid it. The honeymoon phase. Credit where it's due. This printer was spectacular. Compared to old school Enders that were as complex as IKEA furniture, this thing is a revelation. Assembly took maybe 20 minutes. Bolt to the gantry at the base, plug in a few obvious cables, and you're ready to go. The real magic is the auto leveling. It probes the bed, sets the Z offset, and eliminates the biggest headache for new hobbyists. For a beginner, watching this for the first time feels like a miracle. My first few weeks were a bliss. The prints were so clean. They looked factory made. The Sprite Direct drive handled PLA like a champ. For the dirt cheap price, the value felt legendary. I was deep in the honeymoon phase, convinced I'd found the perfect budget printer. But honeymoons end. The first cracks. The first sign the fairy tale was over was with the build plate surface. It ships with a flexible PC coated sheet that at first worked almost too well. Prints didn't just stick, they fused to it. I wasn't removing prints, I was performing surgery, terrified I was going to snap the model. This was unsustainable, leading to the first mandatory upgrade. The community agreed, get a PEI build plate. Prints stick when hot and pop right off when cool. So I looked up the official bed dimensions from Creality and ordered a popular PEI sheet in that exact size and waited. And it didn't fit. It was too small. Turns out Creality's own official measurements were wrong. This turned a simple upgrade into a maddening research project of trial and error. This was an extra expense and a headache no beginner should ever have to go through. And this was the first broken promise. A printer forcing a difficult upgrade because of its own bad information. The downward spiral. As the months went on, the gremlins multiplied. First came the infamous nozzle gouge. One day, its automatic leveling routine, the printer dive-bombed its nozzle straight into my brand new PEI sheet, carving a permanent scar. I quickly learned that the Z offset was completely unreliable. I had to manually tune it. The exact feature it was supposed to prevent. And then there's the speed. Creality advertises 250 millimeters per second, but unless you want your print to look like melted spaghetti, you're slowing it down to 60 or 80 millimeters a second. The high-speed claim isn't a feature, it's a marketing fantasy. Plus, the constant high-pitched whine from the cooling fans is maddening. But the nail in the coffin was its slow, creeping unreliability. After 2 years, print quality became a lottery. I was constantly troubleshooting layer shifts, heat creep causing massive jams, and releveling the gantry. To keep the Ender 3 happy, you have to spend more time fixing it than actually printing with it. You have to become its full-time mechanic, therapist, and a whole bunch of other things for it. The verdict. So, after 2 years, what's the final word? The Ender 3 V3 SE sells a dream of hassle-free 3D printing for beginners that's simply too good to be true. The features that pull you in, the auto-leveling, the direct drive, are all just a shiny paint job on a rusty chassis. They mask a foundation of a bad quality control and cheap promises. Compromises. They mask a foundation of bad quality control and cheap promises. The auto-leveling is a gamble, the build plate force is a frustrating upgrade, the advertised speeds are a joke, and long-term reliability requires expert-level tinkering to maintain. A true beginner printer should be a dependable tool that builds your confidence. This is not that. It's a slot machine of success and failure that's far more likely to burn a newcomer out of the hobby than to welcome them in. Look, I get it. The feature list is tempting, but my 2 years with this machine prove the initial thrill gives a way too long grinding bore of attention. The hidden costs aren't in dollars, they're in your time, your sanity, and a graveyard of failed prints. While it might be a fun project for a seasoned tinkerer who enjoys troubleshooting, it is a terrible recommendation for a true beginner. It's a printer that promises to be easy, but demands you become an expert to keep it alive. And that is the ultimate broken promise. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you been lured in by an alleged beginner-friendly 3D printer, only to be betrayed? Drop your war stories in the comments, and if you appreciate this honest, long-term review, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and happy printing.